Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Or if it's not a happy Monday, welcome to the beginning of the week. My name is Melody McAllister, and I'm here with my good friend, Rachelle. How are you doing today, Rachelle?
I'm doing great. I always am excited to see what you say on Monday when we start. But it's this keeps me like consistent. I know at least what day of the week it is because it's at least as far as Monday and Friday go. But
Right.
you have a guest there. We have a couple of guests today.
I know, right? I'm actually, just to be honest, I'm like doing school over here, and I thought, let's just do it live right here. Everybody's kind of quiet, so I don't need to go to the basement. So yeah, we do have some people in the room with us, but also we have an amazing guest today. I'm going to bring her up, and it is always wonderful to do this with you also, Rachelle. I look forward to this. And I did take a little bit kind of a cleanse from social media this weekend, so I do feel more clear. I can definitely see that I look better than I did. When I went back to see when we were with Desiree on Friday, I was like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But it's whatever. But let's bring up our next guest. I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm sorry, but I'm not pushing the correct buttons. There we go.
Yay, LaVonna.
Hey, LaVonna. See, I'm not pushing the right buttons. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you. And I'm loving the little face that popped out behind you just now, Mel.
Yeah. Do you want to say hi? She's like, well, she can't hear. You want to say hi, Leela? Yeah. How are you? There she is. Now she's excited. Thank you for saying something. So
Yes.
Tell us all about you, LaVonna. It's so great to have you here with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm so glad I'm not the only one flubbering over Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. Wait, what are we doing? So it was an awesome start for that. No, LaVonna. And I was a teacher for 10 years, and I've just been up to this whole consulting thing, something that I never really planned on. I truly thought I was going to become an administrator, and that was the path that I would take in a school building. And one thing led to another. And here we are, just having some fun. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah. So that is so crazy. I didn't know that about you. So you had like your road mapped out. You were like going in one direction, and then what happened? Is it okay if I ask you that?
Absolutely. I unveil the curtain all the time. It's fine. We're all human. We all go through things, right? So no, I actually was a teacher when I said it for 10 years, and I did not see myself really going out of that role, except I became a single mom. And so between financially looking at me and supporting a little girl, what do I do? And the next step seemed to be administration, which it wasn't that I didn't want to go into administration, but I just kind of saw myself as continuing to teach. But I knew that that was really the next step. And then I had an opportunity to step out entirely. And I don't know if this was right or wrong, but someone in my district said, well, if you become an administrator and you ever leave, you will come back as a teacher, but you could never come back as an administrator. And I was like, what? And so I thought, well, you know what? I just had an opportunity that presented itself to step out. Let me step out, try some other things, and then see where it leads me. Well, one thing led to another, and I never actually went back because I've been consulting full time. And that was by accident. It was one thing of working for a company that I was laid off from. They don't exist anymore, to another company where I was cussed out, screamed at, and they're saying, God put in your life for a reason. We're so blessed to have you. And then the next minute they were hugging me and apologizing, like screaming at me and then hugging me and apologizing. So it was just complete chaos. And finally at one point I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I am going to consult on my own. And here we are.
Wow. You're still smiling. That's amazing. That's very interesting. We have a comment coming in. I had no idea. I probably should have prepped you before I asked you that. Aaron says, hello all. And I know Aaron, so you're a consultant, and I know you said that you weren't thinking that you were going to be like this consultant to train other consultants. But how did that start? And I know that Aaron is a part of like your program. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, hey, Aaron. Yes. Well, after consulting and speaking on my own and just growing the business for over 12 years and really looking at how do we serve, how do we make an impact, how do we take the message of what we believe in, that philosophy, that culture, and actually put it into where others can do it. And so the number one question I would say that when I get off the stage or I get done speaking somewhere, I will have at least one person come up to me and say, so how do you get into consulting? How do I get to do what you do? And so it's always interesting to me the stories behind why people want to consult and what they do. But through all of those conversations and those questions that have been asked, it hit me a while back and I went, why am I not teaching others? Because the one thing that drove me crazy, Rachelle and Mel, is that when I started out, I didn't have support. Like I would ask other consultants, like, what do you charge? And how do you know how to do an invoice and all of the business side of things? And I would ask and they would, sorry, I'm hearing sounds. Said, no, are you good? Okay, we're good. You're good. So they would be, I lost my train of thought. I so apologize. I don't remember what I was saying. Do you remember what I was saying? It was totally my fault.
Yes, I do know it's my fault because I have two kids fighting over here. I'm so sorry. You were saying that when you started consulting, you didn't have people telling you how to do the business side of it, the consultant.
Thank you. Yes. And so because I didn't have anyone, I kept thinking, that was the hardest thing for me, was to figure out, I had no idea what to do and where to start. Because we know education, right? Like we know what happens in education, what it looks like, what you do, but then there's a whole business side to it where we're talking not only how do you invoice and proposals and framework things out for you, but then also how do you do taxes and how do you have a business account versus personal? And there was all this other piece, but I didn't have anyone to really ask, because every time I did, they saw it as what I would call the scarcity mindset of, oh, you're competition. And that to me is the way we should not be thinking, right? Because we all bring value. We all bring something new to the table. We position it different. We share it different. Our styles are different. And yet that was not the mindset, at least with the people that I was trying to talk to back then. So yes, all of that just got me excited about, you know what, this shouldn't be a big secret. There's so many schools out there. And if you divide them by the number that one consultant could handle, and then divided by the number of days even humanly possible to do, it doesn't even come even close. And then it narrows down even further because all of us have different niches, different focuses, things that we do. So it was back in November that I started putting it all together. So almost a year ago. And then this past March, we opened it up to everybody. So we are literally in the middle of open enrollment right now for another group. This will be the third group to come in, but it's an amazing community. It's just to watch people bond. It's warmed my heart.
That's awesome. Like I was telling you before we went live, I joined in, I got an email on Saturday for something, but I just always love listening to you talk. I mean, you were on, I don't know, it's probably 2 months ago now. Who knows how long ago it was? I had you on my Wednesday show and just talking, and everybody just having those spaces, whether it's like that, where it's my show and I'm having you just talk about something, or just being able to connect with people, even though we're just probably so overtired with Zoom and Teams and all of that, it's still so refreshing to be able to connect like this, or to know that you're not alone, or to know that like, oh yeah, I want to be a consultant, but I don't know anything, or I don't have the skills. Well, you don't really need to have a certain amount of skills to get started. I mean, is it easy? Like when I decided, yeah, I'm going to consult on my own, I didn't really know what I was doing. Just kind of tried it, but a process, like you go through and you think about what's working, what's not, and then you build your skills over time. But I'm so glad that I did that. And it's funny because sometimes people think, they don't realize that I'm actually at class, I teach. I mean, I'm a full-time teacher. I would say, I don't want to say full-time consultant, but I keep pretty busy with things. And I wish I could do more consulting, but what I learned is from my students. And so if I stop teaching, I'm not going to have all of that. So I kind of need everything. I need all the things. I don't know what my point is, but it's just like, I don't know. I like having these opportunities to connect, or people to join in, and Facebook user, or as we now know, Erin in this case. But the connections that you make from that and in those spaces, it's a big deal. And especially if you're having some self-doubt or something, or you feel like, oh, I can't do this. Yeah, you can. Everybody starts from a different place. So
yes, I would say that's one of the biggest hurdles to get people past, is they think that they don't have anything to offer. Right. And you have so much. If you think about anything, we'll just use a teacher as an example, administrator, same thing. But if you think about a teacher, you have created, like, you have the content, you have the standards, but the way that you deliver it, the way that you frame it, the way that it's a process of what you do, nobody else is doing it like you're doing it. And so that can in itself, if you pull that together and wrap your head around what that looks like, that can serve so many others and create a greater impact beyond just that school classroom or the school building walls. And the other part that too, that you hinted on this too, Rachelle, is that so many people think that you have to step out full time and go. Well, first of all, that's not going to be for everybody. And second of all, it's like a little snowball, right? You start out with a little snowball that gradually builds and builds and builds. It's not like you develop everything. You've got everything what you think is perfect, which we don't usually tend to think that it is. But let's say we love it and we're like, everything's perfect, ready to go. And we step out and we're like, okay, I'm ready. But nobody knows about you. Nobody knows what you do. And you haven't had a chance to test anything and work your way through it. So I actually recommend starting part-time, and building it into, is this something you really want? And the other part too that stops people is they think they don't have the time. Well, if you don't think you have the time, you're never going to have the time, right? Like I think pre-pandemic, we were all so crazy busy. And all we kept thinking was, I'm so busy, I'm overwhelmed, I don't have time, I just wish life would slow down. And then a pandemic comes along, what are we saying? I'm so busy, I'm overwhelmed, I wish and we're going to say the same thing. You have to prioritize to make that. And the beauty of consulting too is that you get to make it look like what you want it to look like. So some people think full-time, I have to go full-time. No, you could speak one time a year on a stage. That is consulting, because we use the umbrella of consulting as speaking, coaching, mentoring, training, everything falls underneath that umbrella. And so if you think about it from that point of view, it could be going out one time a year to 80 times a year. It can be where you travel internationally, or you stay nationally, or you stay within 60 miles of your home. It can look however you want it to look.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't mind the international travel. Although this past January was the first time I had gone out of the country in 20, I don't know, a long time. We'll just say that. And it's fun. Like I do like the conferences. I do like the chance to travel, and I didn't fly for a really long period of time, but getting to go to those different conferences and interact and meet people and speak. But yeah, I always thought like, oh, I have to quit teaching to be a consultant. And no, or you're right. Like I have time. I mean, we're never going to have time for all of the things we want to do. It's not going to happen. So prioritize. But even that is, I mean, I struggle with that a lot, is prioritizing.
Oh yeah.
I
I finally came up with a system that I followed from, if you're all familiar with Michael Hyatt, but he has a full focus planner. And that is the first time that I've had something that actually works for me. And it's because it's around setting goals, which I'm not a big goal person, but I have to make myself be a goal person. And then everything I do daily has to relate back to those goals. And that's, I mean, outside of little things that have to be taken care of, but that has helped me immensely, moving things forward and getting things done. Me actually, like the very first thing I put in there is that time for me. I schedule that my workouts first. It's super helpful.
I couldn't do the workouts first. It's like Sarah Thomas
right away, but no.
Yeah, no. Sarah Thomas does really early morning workouts. And I always joke with her and say, like, my workout is walking down the stairs in the morning. Like if I could do that, especially at that time. But it's important to have that time. And I try to listen to Melody too, make time for myself and live my life. And I don't know, Melody, or I thought we lost you for a second, but you were just shuffling us around.
Yeah, I'm dying here. Like, I don't know. I thought I had a more clear mind today, and I'm thinking a little bit more clearly, but I'm pushing wrong buttons all over the place. So sorry. And I love what you're talking about, but I also want to, you didn't start out as this person that wanted to teach others how to consult. You actually have a book, your Ignite to Shine. And I want to hear more about that. So I'm going to put this up. Can you tell us also about Ignite Your Shine for those of us that we're not really familiar with your work yet?
Yes, of course, of course. So I have 8 books out they're called Brain Power Strategies and Brain Power Lessons to Engage All Learners. And that's where I began, because I realized my passion, my excitement was all around how does the brain learn? Because I have 3 degrees in education and none of them did I take a class on how the brain learns. And so I got very fascinated with the brain and how it learns. And that led to the 8 books. But I then kept thinking, why are we not making the gains we should be making? Like, I mean, the students were improving, and I'm not talking about in my classroom. I'm talking about when I was consulting and helping others. And finally, it hit me one day, and I went, wait a minute. If the brain isn't in a state of learning, it can't learn. And so that's when what is now known as SEL, I didn't know the terminology back then, but social emotional learning, I thought, you know what, that's what this is all about. So I come from that lens. So Ignite Your Shine was born from all of that, because originally the word was smart, not shine. I couldn't think of smart. I knew what I was going after. And that is in education. I think we are phenomenal at putting kids into a box, and that box is reading, writing, math, and science. And I think our students are so much more than that. And I'm sure you all probably agree too. And so because of that, I thought, you know what, we're going to go after the word smart. And then somebody said to me, that, again, right or wrong, I never know what the advice that people are giving. You have to learn to filter sometimes, right? But they said to me, you'll never change the definition of smart in education. Part of my personality went, watch me, right? And then the other part, which is the self-doubt part, went, what if they're right? Mm-hmm. And so I actually took a step back, and I'm glad that I did, because it wasn't just about smart. It was about, I want to build up confidence in others. And that's exactly what our focus is we take people through the acronym of SHINE. And so the letter S in SHINE is all about self. What are your strengths, gifts, skills, and talents? And we focus there. And then H is heart. What are your passions? Right, what lights you up? And it's the combination of those two things together that are actually the powerful package. Because if you're missing one, you burn out. So for example, if I have strength, but it's not a passion, I'm a burnout. If I have a passion for something, but it's not a strength, that's probably more like a hobby, right? So it's the two things together that really lead to fulfillment in life. But that won't be just enough. So I is inspire, because when life throws you a curveball or things happen that you never planned on happening, such as a pandemic, right? Other things that happen in personal life too. How do you stay inspired, and how do you inspire others? And then N is navigate. What are you gonna do with all the greatness that I just talked about? So whether it's setting a goal, or whether it's thinking about your story, your next steps, your journey, what you want that to be, that is navigate. And then E is exceptional, because you're becoming the exceptional person you were meant to be. Not everybody, not anybody else, not everybody else, literally you. And one of the biggest things that I encourage people to do, and I'll say this part on here, especially since we look at social media, when we're on there, there's oftentimes a comparison game. You know, we put up those mirrors and we start comparing like crazy. But what we often don't realize, or we realize but don't always let it rule what we're thinking, is that we compare, but what we're really comparing to is what people want us to see, right? And people don't tend, some do, people don't tend to put their dirty laundry on there. And the second part is, again, we're seeing what they want us to see. So if, for example, that I think their life is perfect and they have everything going for them great and they're strong at everything, my goodness, there's not one thing bad in their life, I reflect that mirror on me. And now I'm thinking, how come they have everything, but they don't have everything? And even if you put up 5 people and I see the greatness over here and the greatness over there and that greatness, and you use those mirrors, you start reflecting, going, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm terrible at that. I'm all right with that. Awful at that. But what you're seeing is their strengths, not yours. And so we're just really big on bringing that out, because if you truly want productivity in the workplace, you want achievement with students, it really does come down to the SEL component, but building up confidence.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm on mute. That's amazing. So yeah, I'm totally not surprised at all that you were able to go from, from in the classroom to then starting to write your own books after 3 degrees. Holy moly. And then like, it makes so much sense that you're able to not just use that for students and teaching, but also then to take that into consulting and helping other students. Because just like, it's all under that umbrella, like you're doing it in all different capacities. I didn't realize that. And I think it's amazing. I feel ignorant that I didn't know all that. I'm sorry.
No, you can't know everything about everybody. And, yeah, we actually work with a lot of corporations too. I own 2 companies actually. So Ignite Your Shine, we do with corporate and education, primarily education. But then I own a company called Brain Powered, and is all around presentation skills through the lens of brain research. So
wow,
it's been fun.
Yeah, I bet.
That's awesome. I love that.
Don't get me wrong. There's headaches.
Nah.
So, could you imagine that this was going to be your life, like, 12 years ago?
Oh, no. And especially starting out as a speaker and continuing to be a speaker, like I could not have sat like literally right here with you all, and just no one being live, just the 3 of us, and you, oh, LaVonna, tell us about yourself. And I would have been sweating and heart pounding, because I have an introverted side to me for sure, but I also have a shy side. And so because of that, it'll cause me to pull back at times. So I never thought, but I had someone in our school district who said, we want you to come train for the social studies department. And my head, I remember screaming no in my head, and my mouth was said, okay, because I didn't want to disappoint her. And what ended up happening is I got great feedback. And then I continued, and I was like, really? People actually like, you want to hear what I have to say? But why would you want to hear what I have to say? It's nothing that you don't know. which now I know is not true. You know, we all know different things, but it goes back to that confidence. I didn't have my own. A lot of self-doubt, a lot of childhood things that happened that just, I did not believe in me at all. And even when I got into college, I was having horrible grades. I was put on probation to be kicked out of college. And I thought, yep, see again, you're just not enough. You're stupid and you're not enough. And when I look at everything in the past of what I've been through, you know, personally, but then also professionally where things have led me, it now makes sense. I can connect the dots, not at the time, but I can now. And so it's been an incredible journey. And, you know, I still have a shy side that times I have to fight. And, you know, getting up on the stage, I always ask, I'm like, please don't introduce me. And they're like, well, we want to introduce you. No, we got to tell them. I'm like, yeah, but you just made it about me, which means that's that shy side. That lens comes right to me where it's not about me. It's about the message. It's about making a difference. It's about building everybody up and being in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I got to say, that's pretty incredible. So I think you should let people talk you up a little bit. It's okay. We all need that time to time. That's so cool. I'm glad to hear your story. Like, it means a lot to me. So thank you for sharing that. I just said we're going to talk about whatever we're going to talk about. So I didn't really know what this was going to go in direction, but I'm glad. Yeah. Rachelle, I'm sorry. I'm like, what do you think? I'm perplexed.
What?
She's feeling verklempt. Is that
verklempt? Oh my!
I just make it as I can't remember what movie that is, y'all. But yeah, I can't talk.
You know what?
Do you remember?
It'll come to me later. I've been for the last. I don't know.
You know, SNL used to. I'm feeling verklempt.
Oh, that's what.
I don't know if that's the same one or not.
That's even worse, but yes, I do know. I love those skits, but it comes from another movie, but that's okay. What was happening was the more you were talking, the more I was getting emotional when you were talking. And I was like, oh my God, like, just don't cry, Melody. Like, just.
Oh, Melody.
I'm so sorry. I am a wreck. I am a wreck these days. I don't know what is. I think this pandemic, you know, I'm talking to my husband a lot more and I'm telling him like stuff I'm going through. And I never used to do that. You know, I never used to just like, hey, I'm going to tell you everything that's happening. I should have, but I wasn't. I just feel like some days I feel really productive and I'm doing great. And then other days, I don't know. I just, I feel very foggy. And I was going through a real big fog at the end of last week when I had my Thrive o'clock breakdown on here. So sorry.
It's all right. We're calling it COVID brain in our house because it has just been, and I mean, normally, like, Mel, with your kids talking, normally would have not have thrown me at all. That's why I was like, this was my fault. Like, I actually went with it. And normally I can block anything out. I can keep talking, but no, COVID brain, that, or I'm almost 50. So I don't know which one, or maybe it's both, but I'm just like, holy cow. I'm with you.
And it's so funny because I was following every word you were saying. Like, I block out everything and I'm like, oh, they're talking. Like, I need to, but I was hanging on every word. So what are your plans for this week? What is everybody looking forward to? And I want to take a minute and just thank everybody who's checking in with us through Twitter, the Facebook communities. You know, what are you guys looking forward to this week? Please drop a comment. Erin, are you still there?
She said, I'm done with you all.
Yeah, she's like, I've seen enough. This is not what I signed up for.
And you had Erin on your show like recently, correct? Or you had a podcast? Or wait, I'm sorry.
Wait, me?
She texted. Yeah, no, LaVonna. Did you?
LaVonna?
She was in our newsletter. Yeah.
Oh, newsletter.
We do Shining Moments. And so it's just a positive newsletter once a month that goes out. And Erin was highlighted in it this time. So yes. She's
still there with us. Yeah.
She's still there. So she's
great.
She's a trooper.
Oh, gosh. I'm a mess. So, and tomorrow, I know for anybody who's, tomorrow is Global Maker Day. I'm actually really looking forward to that. My kids love making everything. I would like to get into more digital stuff. But I don't know if anybody out there is looking forward to that tomorrow, or, you know, just drop us something, a comment of what you're looking forward to this week. Or, you know, if you're like me and you're a mess, let us know so that I don't feel alone.
You're not alone. I am looking forward to Global Maker Day tomorrow because I'm doing a session on Bunsey.
On what?
Yeah, on Bunsey, on like
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and how to make, because my students in 8th grade now, we've been doing business cards and flyers, like if they were going to have a business or business they think that they might like to have in the future, or they think might exist. So they've been just creating and making whatever. So it's been a lot of fun. So that's tomorrow. But Global Maker Day is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So
I hope you post pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. That's so cool. So when I don't know if I did Global Maker Day last year, I might have and then missed it because I'm like that a lot of times. But like, does it have to be digital or can it just be anything? It can be like my kid. Okay, good.
Yeah, there's
I've got all my toilet paper rolls and my the bigger ones. These rolls,
Paper towels.
Paper towels. Like,
we're gonna play charades.
I was just gonna say it's like charades or something, like what 2 words sounds like, I don't know. Oh my. Anyway,
Skilled Space. Yes, we need to have Erin on. Tell us what Skilled Space is. And I mean, but my kids, I have saved cereal boxes for months. We finally started having to recycle the cereal boxes because we weren't using them as quickly. But I still have a whole thing. Like I'm ready to dig in, and I got tape and glitter and glue and paint. Like we're gonna have a fun day tomorrow. So I am looking forward to that.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So I have a question because you brought up cereal boxes.
Yes.
I just had a conversation with a family the other day, and they were saying how they hate it. They open up the pantry and there's like 12 almost empty, not quite, almost empty cereal boxes. Going crazy. They're like, seriously, just empty it out. And she said, I'm to the point that I'm hiding the new boxes. I was like, absolutely. We had to do that same thing in our house. So you just brought that up. So I had to.
We also hide the cereal boxes. The thing is that they find it. These kids they can find anything. They find all of our secret hiding places. And the house that we live here in Alaska doesn't have like a huge pantry at all. So we've made like a new pantry downstairs, and but they found it. And so, but yes, and I hate it. But it's not just cereal boxes. Like I have actually gone into the refrigerator and pulled out an empty milk carton, and I'm like, why do you put this back into the fridge? Put it in the trash, like, I don't get it. Does that happen to you guys too?
Oh, yes. We are now empty nesters, but before then, yes, 100%.
Hey, sometimes, yes, is this Erin too, whoever Facebook user is waving hi? I don't know. But hi back at you. I have a feeling it's not. I feel like it's a new person. But yeah. So much fun stuff. Our time is about to be done, but I wanted to share a couple of links out for LaVonna because I am always inspired by your message. If you are wanting to be a part of her consulting webinars, this is the link to go to primetosshine.com/secrets webinar. And then if you'd like to find out more about her books, igniteyourshine.com, and all about brain research, how we learn. It's amazing. And I do know you've shared out your resources during the pandemic. How did that go?
Yes. So we actually have SHINE-tastic SEL lessons, and they're 100% free. So it's videos and lesson plans, hands-on. We also have them where you can do them virtually. So yes, at igniteyourshine.com, you can find them there. And
awesome.
Have at it. Have some fun with them. We were charging for them for a while. But we've just heard so many amazing stories about the differences that they make with kids and the things they realize about themselves and building up that confidence that I said, you know what, we're going free with this. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. I will definitely check that out too. And it was Michelle Griffin. Thank you, Michelle.
She's in Prime to Shine. She's a Prime to Shiner. We call them P2Sers. Yeah, she's a consultant with us. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. And what were you saying, Rachelle, before I cut you off like I always do? And I'm sorry.
I think I might have just been saying, hi, Michelle.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching today. We are so glad you're a part of our community. If you have created any YouTubes or blog posts, please drop it in the comments. We want to share it out on Twitter. We want to share it out in our community. We're so glad that you're here with us. LaVonna, thank you for joining us today. It's been a great time visiting with you. And another Facebook user says hello. So goodbye. But before we talk about Thrive O'Clock on Friday, are there any last words that either of you want to share with us?
I just want to thank you both for what you're doing, because you're uplifting so many others by going live and making this commitment, because this is time on your part too. And you bring in guests like me and just have an opportunity to share some positivity, and educators need it so bad right now. So I thank both of you for all that you're doing and contributing and serving others. So thank you.
She might make me cry on that one. Thank you for being here. So we appreciate your time. Always good to see you.
Same to you.
So everybody out there, thank you again so much. Have a great week. We look forward to talking with you throughout the week, and take it easy. Take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.
Bye.